Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, or good morning. I don't know where you're viewing from. It's Joanna here again with growth tip number two. I said yesterday that I'd be doing 5 principles of growth, and today I'm talking about another fundamental principle that we need to embrace, that we need to think about when we want to grow, however we want to grow. And so, growth tip number two is change your thinking. We have to change the way we think in order to grow. Otherwise, we won't grow. I'm reading this amazing book, The Biology of Belief, by I forgot the name of the author now, but basically goes more into these principles, and so it's really important to know that. So it's changing the way we think. We all have habitual ways of thinking. We have ideas that we hold on to that is very dear to us, that we don't want to change, ideas sometimes that are not serving us, but we hold on to them anyway, views and beliefs and thought processes that are not serving us, but they're very dear to us. And they become dear to us because they perhaps are connected to family, they're connected to sentimental, they have sentimental ties with us in some form, through family, through connections, through religion, through whatever. But we have these ways of thinking, and even though they're not serving us, because they're tradition and because they're habitual, we hold on to them and we don't want to let them go. But in order for us to grow, we have to be comfortable enough to examine those, to look at them, to see whether they're serving us. Have they served the purposes that they were supposed to? Are they How are they helping our lives? Are they helping you to grow? Are they keeping you stuck? And so being able to look at that honestly is really important, and it's going to help you grow. Now, if you're afraid of looking at your beliefs and that changed your thinking, then something is wrong. If you're not able to examine it and go, no, this is what I believe, and it stays, this one isn't going anywhere. Because examining it doesn't mean you necessarily change it. It just means that you're taking an inventory and looking at let me look at my belief system. Let me look at how it's serving me, and see what I want to do with it. So that's an important thing to do. So we can't grow without change. And that's a tricky thing for us when we've experienced trauma. Change can be challenging, because we are afraid of change, but we're afraid of change for different reasons. We have to move after living here for 7 years, and it's really challenging. I'm thinking, and I know where we're going is the next phase, is the next step, the next chapter, and all that good stuff, but still. And so, even if that physical change is going to be challenging, changing the way we're thinking also can be challenging, but it's really important, because sometimes we keep ourselves stuck in a our thoughts can keep us stuck in an emotional place, in an emotional state that we hold on to even though it's not serving us. It keeps us maintaining the same harmful cycle, the same harmful patterns, the same harmful relationships, allowing the same kind of people in, um, keeping us from having safe boundaries. Those ways of thinking can keep us stuck in this place where we're not growing and we're not changing and we're not moving. And it's really important to examine that, see, how do I think about this particular issue? How do I feel about this particular issue? What do I think about this thing, to be able to grow your minds. And one of the ways that you can take an inventory, or one of the ways that you grow how your thoughts, is through reading books by different authors, a range of different people. Read materials from a range of different people that will help you to widen your scope, to widen your view a little bit, so you don't have one narrow view. And even the way you feel about that might indicate that something needs changing, right? If you're worried about, I don't want to read anybody else or any other author, I just want to stay with this. I love books, and I used to love reading a lot of mystery novels and romance novels, and I kind of graduated from that in my mid 20s, where I stopped reading those mystery, romance, detective type books, and I only read nonfiction now. And that's been maybe for the last 20 odd years. I only read nonfiction books, and even then, I like a certain kind, a certain style of writing, but I still try not to limit myself to reading only some authors and not others. So I try to widen my scope a little bit about how I read. Of course, I sift, I research authors. I see who is aligned with me and my values, because I've done that work of understanding my values, of understanding what I'm going to input in my mind, in the same process of allowing myself the freedom to grow. I'm still being very cautious. I'm still researching. I'm still lining things up with my value system to see whether or not they fit. And if they don't fit, then that's not for me. But there, within that, there's a whole range of things that you can read if you're doing that kind of work. So let's say, for example, and I like to give examples when I'm teaching. Let's say, for example, fruit. You can only eat sweet fruits, and you can't eat sharp fruits or acidic fruits, right? Or I say acidic fruits, like citrus rather. So, I mean, that doesn't limit you. If you can't eat citrus fruits, doesn't mean that you can't eat fruits, because there's a whole range of other type of fruits to choose from, right? Or if you can't have greens, for example, but there are other colors of vegetables. There's purple, and there's orange, and there's all different kinds of other colors of vegetables that you can choose from. So if you don't read one, if you don't read one author or certain kinds of authors' work, there's a whole range for you to choose from, for you to be able to grow your mind, to be able to put yourself in a space where you can grow. So, when we do that, and when we're changing our thinking, it will challenge cultural assumptions, cultural understanding, what culture tells us that we've never questioned, and we've just accepted as true, and we've never questioned it. And even though it's not serving us, it's not helping us grow, we never question it, right? It will help you to challenge what your grandmother said, those sayings in the family that we hold on to, and those things that we practice over and over again, and we've never changed it, we've never allowed it room to grow. It will challenge also the status quo of that group that you belong with or belong to. It will challenge it. And some of the reasons why we're afraid of growth is that, that challenge might make us feel odd. We're the odd one out, and we don't want to be odd. Nobody wants to be. We want to belong. We want to be part of the group. But you think about it. If at the risk of not being a part of that group, you stop yourself from growing, I mean, nobody's winning, in that. So there's always a group that's for you. There's always a community that is waiting for you. And if you challenge yourself to grow, and because you've outgrown the people in the group that you belong to, doesn't mean that you're not going to belong anywhere else. And again, when we experience trauma, belonging is an important thing. And belonging is an important thing for us as humans. We were created to connect. And so having a sense of belonging is important. So, but there might be a fear, an underlying fear of not allowing yourself to challenge the way you think, or to expose yourself to anything else, because you fear that you might not grow. But that you might not be accepted in a certain group, but you will be accepted. There's a group that's yours that is waiting for you. I'm just looking at my notes. You'll expose yourself to more, where you can learn more and grow some more. And it's the ability to be open to learning, because if we're not willing to challenge, we won't learn. And so we won't learn the other amazing ways of doing something, or the other amazing ways of thinking, or the other amazing ways of solving a problem, or the other amazing ways of parenting or approaching relationships. And we learn that because we allow ourselves to grow. We put ourselves in spaces and positions where there are other people that are growing, and so we can learn, we can model, and we can grow too. And here's an important one, and this is my last point. Don't assume that you know. Don't assume that you know the answer. Be willing to learn. Be willing to learn more. Be willing to learn from everyone. Be teachable, because that's important. That's an important part of growth. When we are teachable, when we allow people to teach us, to talk to us, to give us the benefit of their experience. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old they are or how young they are. Everybody has something valuable to teach somebody else. And so when we are open to growth, when we're open to learning, when we're open to challenging our thinking, then we will learn and grow. So I have teenagers and a son that has an inquisitive mind and allow himself to learn, because he listens to different things. And so as much as I love history, and I read about history, I realize that he has so much to teach me that I don't know, that I didn't know. And so he also loves to read about the world wars and airplanes, and I don't know a thing about airplanes, and I don't know enough about wars or that period in history. And so listening, sitting with him and listening to him and learning from him is so important because it allows me to grow. So when I go somewhere else and there's this conversation happening, I can ask intelligent questions, I can listen, and I can participate because I have listened to him. And in listening to him, I'm also connecting with him, and our relationship is deepening because I'm allowing myself to be taught by him, and I'm not being this authority figure that pretend that they know everything and I'll never learn anything from him, even though he's younger. So those are some of the ways that we can challenge ourselves by that. Those are some of the ways that we can grow. And we should all be uncomfortable with not growing. We should all be uncomfortable with not growing, because if you're not growing, then what is happening? And even though we've experienced pain and we're healing and we've been on our journey of healing for years and we've done a lot of work, I always find that there are, when I put myself in spaces where people are committed to growth, I learn so much more about myself, more of myself to appreciate, to accept, to challenge, to grow through. That's never a difficulty. It's never difficult. It's enjoyable even, because the space is safe and learning is fun. I find learning fun, and I love personal development. So I like to grow. So if you are like me and if you are open to growth and open to personal development and want to learn how to apply these principles in a safe space, I'm inviting you to our 30 days challenge, Letting Go to Grow. It starts the 15th of August. The details are above or below this video, depending on the platform that you're on. Take a look at the page, and I hope I'll see you when we start on the 15th of September. Have a great evening. Bye.